Hello, hello again. Coming to you live from Rick on the Rocks Central. Rick on the Rocks and Dad. Fantasy Football Extravaganza, week three. We've made it 3 weeks so far.
Yep. We haven't been canceled yet.
No.
That's a good thing.
We haven't gotten a letter from the producers, an email,
Nothing.
anything. My wife has been giving us hell, but other than that.
Yeah.
So lots of things going on this past week. One thing I noticed, there were either some really, really good games or some really, really bad games.
Yeah,
there wasn't like a middle ground.
That's what you get in the NFL pretty much.
This week. There wasn't anything that was kind of like, oh, well, maybe. But we've got a couple things that we're going to be talking about. Dad's got story time. I don't know, do you want to start with story time?
Well, first of all, if you'll notice, we
Yes.
are on our way to our second night of watching our beloved Cubs play
We watched them win last night.
down at the Tropicana Field. They're playing the Tampa Bay Rays
The
tonight.
lovely Tropicana Field.
So as soon as we're out of here, done with this, well, we'll be off Ubering our way downtown. So looking forward to another nice win. Last week for story time, I brought you a story of the three little pigs and the big bad wolf. Okay. Now, the moral to my story last week was, and I'm reading this to make sure I get it correct. Remember, you can't judge a team or player by the first week, and you can't even tell what a team or players will do this week based on what they did the previous week at any time during the season.
True.
All right. Now, I have the following numbers for you. What did I do with them? I have no idea. Oh, I know. They're underneath this. Week 1, Alex Smith, Kareem Hunt, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. Now, what do they have in common? Obviously, they all play for the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have won both their games. The first week, they upset, I guess you would call it an upset, the New England Patriots in the opening game of the NFL season. They beat them 42-27. Alex Smith, their quarterback, was 28 for 35, 368 yards, 4 touchdowns. Okay? Now, in week 2, Alex Smith was 21 out of 28 for 251 yards and 1 touchdown. Okay?
Big difference.
Big difference. Secondly, running back Kareem Hunt. Week number 1, 17 carries for 148 yards, 1 touchdown, plus 5 receptions for 96 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a monster week. He actually got 45.6 fantasy points on the ESPN site. So huge number. This week, he was 13 rushes for 81 yards and 2 touchdowns, 3 catches, 28 yards, no touchdowns, 25.9 points. Now, that's still pretty good, but it's a big drop-off. Big drop-off. Tyreek Hill, wide receiver, first week, 7 catches, 133 yards, 1 touchdown. Second week, 4 catches, 43 yards, no touchdowns. Travis Kelce, the best receiving tight end in the NFL the first week, 5 catches, 40 yards, no touchdowns. Second week, 8 catches, 103 yards, and a touchdown. Okay? Now, you notice Alex Smith basically at the start of the season was ranked 18th, pretty much, as the number 18 ranked quarterback.
Right.
He's a good, solid quarterback at Kansas City. He does what he's asked to do there and does it very well in the system they run. But he's going to start out the season as the number 18 quarterback. He'll end up the season as the number 18 quarterback, even when he throws up a game against New England like he did. Kareem Hunt, jury's still out on him. Had a great first week. Had a pretty good second week. Tyreek Hill.
Now, do you think that's because they changed up some of the play calling?
Well, the second week they're playing Philadelphia, who should not be as tough as New England.
No.
But every week remember, in this day and age, every team has video of every single second of every single game and every scheme and everything. Everybody's changing, and then they're changing on the fly during the game. So they're adapting and adopting, and whatever you want to call it. Okay? Travis Kelce is one player that throughout the whole season you can count on as a tight end. He's going to have the same basic numbers that he has every year. He's terrific. No matter what, if he gets 0 touchdowns against the Patriots.
And a solid tight end is hard to find.
Yeah.
And anyone that plays fantasy knows that.
Tyreek Hill, who knows? First week, had a great week. He had a touchdown, 133 yards. Second week, 43 yards, 0 touchdowns. Does that mean he's a bad receiver? I don't know. Does it mean he's a good receiver? I don't know. I guess we'll find out.
Well, in our team together, we started Marcus Mariota and had Alex Smith on the bench.
Yeah.
And I think Alex Smith only beat Mariota only had like maybe a point more, maybe 2 at the most, than Marcus Mariota. So you've got those 2 guys that I know, that Dad and I know, that we have, that I can count on 15, 16 points if they have a really good game. We're looking in the 20s, maybe 30s, tops. But we know that we can count on those amount of points from those guys. They're going to play steady. They're going to be, really even keeled. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with playing safe sometimes like that.
No, and every team, I have 5 fantasy teams, one of which Rick and I have together. It seemed as though every team I played this week had Tom Brady on their team.
Oh, yeah.
And Tom Brady, after a mediocre for Tom Brady game against the Kansas City Chiefs, this week was terrific.
Fantastic.
He was back to being Tom Brady. He got 30 fantasy points, and I got killed in several of the leagues just strictly because
the score of the New England-New Orleans game didn't really match up with what was really going on.
Yeah.
New England pretty much kicked the crap out of New Orleans.
So anyway, that brings us to story time for this week. Okay, we're going to begin a series on the Wizard of Oz. So gather around. The Wizard of Oz, yes. Dorothy, Toto, Tin Man.
I can't even imagine.
Oh yeah. We have the Good Witch Glinda. We've got the Bad Witch, and of course we got the Wizard. Now this is going to be kind of a short story this week. Okay, we're going to focus on Dorothy. Okay. And remember what Dorothy said at the end of the show, at the end of the movie. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. Okay? Now we're going to ignore everything else that goes on in the Wizard of Oz for this week, but we will revisit it because there's some really good lessons there. In fact, if you look at it as a fantasy player, remember one of the Tin Man, what did he want? He wanted a heart. Okay. The straw man. Scarecrow. Yeah, the Scarecrow. He wanted a brain. The Cowardly Lion. He wanted some courage. Well, that describes a good fantasy player, right? So
that's good.
The story makes sense. Okay.
Bringing it back around.
Yeah, that's right. Bring it all back. That's what you do. Okay? And when you're playing fantasy, you got good witches, bad witches, people trying to beat you, trying to help you.
Oh, you're a good witch.
You got the Wizard of Oz. Yes.
They say that when they look at Bill Belichick.
Yeah. So anyway, there's no place like home. Now, in fantasy, don't be quick to drop players that you believe will have good seasons. In other words, keep them home with you. Okay? They may have a bad week. Maybe you want to rest them and put them on your bench. But if they're good players, like Travis Kelce that I mentioned, over the whole season, they're going to do really well for you. Obviously, a Tom Brady. But even Alex Smith, if you don't expect him to be up here every week, if all you need from him is here and you have, say, Le'Veon Bell at running back or, whatever, Antonio Brown at wide receiver and, and on and on. You just need him to manage the game, get a nice number of points. So that's what you're looking at. You're looking at the long haul. So don't be so fast to make judgment, because there is no place like home. You know, you just cool it.
He brought it back
don't
around.
be rushing off. Don't be rushing off. Don't be sending somebody away from home. You know,
no, and that's where like him and I differ in our playing styles. Is I'm the one that'll get like super hyper frustrated.
Yeah.
Be like, oh, screw him, I'm taking them all. You know, I'd be an awful coach because I just don't have, I don't have that kind of patience. Where he's like, no. Let's bench him. Let's give him a week. And we've had that happen over the years of playing with each other, playing together. Is that we'll have a guy that maybe like for whatever reason 2 weeks on the bench, and then all of a sudden you put him in and he's back. He's good to go. And then he'll be good for 2 or 3 weeks. And then you got to bench him again. So there's like ebbs and flows the entire time. So.
No, I do have a codicil to that. Sometimes when players switch teams, maybe they're due for a new contract. All right. And I can think of one wonderful example. LeGarrette Blount has been with the New England Patriots for the last couple of years. Last season, I believe he had 18 touchdowns for the New England Patriots. He's now with the Philadelphia Eagles, who are running a totally different system.
Right.
He barely touches the ball. Barely.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lot of people, I'm sure, grabbed LeGarrette Blount because the situation there looked to be that they were bringing in LeGarrette Blount to hand the ball off to him in short yardage situations like Bill Belichick did in New England, and he was going to score a lot of touchdowns. Well, guess what? They're not handing him the ball at all.
Yeah.
So if you drafted LeGarrette Blount, it's probably time to cut bait. Get rid of him.
Yeah.
Peterson, the running back previously from Minnesota, is now in a system that's not using him
He's
at
with
all.
it totally wrong. He should fire his agent.
And he was being recommended by everybody. It's time to get rid of him. Gronkowski, let me mention about Rob Gronkowski, tight end for New England. He's probably the best offensive tight end when he's healthy. Better than Kelsey because he's faster and can do more things. He's actually a wide receiver. He just happens to be huge. He's already starting to have injury problems.
Yeah.
Now, I can see this coming. Last year, he missed tons of games because of injuries. He's already having injury problems. So I would keep an eye on him. But that's something you have to do every week is watch who's injured and what they're saying about the injury. I have to do that in baseball because right now I have some pitchers. It's like that. I'm in the championships right now. There's only 2 weeks left to go.
What is it about the tight ends, though? First of all, it's hard to find a tight end that's good every week. Greg Olsen went off with an injury.
Greg Olsen, one of our favorite tight ends, previously with the Bears.
He's a pretty tough dude, yeah.
But he's been with Carolina for a number of years and been very successful. He can't stay healthy. He's out another couple of months. He might miss the whole season. Who knows? And I'm sure he was fairly highly drafted. So anyway, so that's enough of that. We'll revisit The Wizard of Oz next week or whenever we think it's timely.
He just comes up with this stuff.
Yeah, who knows? So, okay, what do we got next? Oh, don't forget, by the way, well, never mind. Go ahead.
I was going to go back over some of the games from last week. Some of the games that I thought were interesting. And I'll say 2 in particular. And here's like my thought process. The New England-New Orleans game, which New England ended up winning 36-20. Score was a lot better than that game. Wasn't that close, to be honest with you. And also was the Jets in Oakland and the Raiders. So Oakland and New York, which Oakland won that one 45-20. Now, we've both gone on record saying that we think New England and Oakland are viable teams for the Super Bowl this year.
Absolutely.
Now,
I mean, they can't both make it, but
because I know a lot of people are going to be looking at Oakland going, maybe I need to, with 45 points, maybe I need to pick up some of their guys. Is Oakland that good? Or are the Jets that bad? Or is it somewhere in the middle? Is it a yes, no, or maybe so?
The Jets are awful.
Okay.
How's that? I'll clarify it.
So would you wait to watch the Raiders play who I think who's
No, I would grab all the Raiders you can grab.
Who are they playing?
They're playing Washington this week. Is that who it is?
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
They're the late Sunday night game.
Derek Carr, anybody you want on Oakland. I have Michael Crabtree, one of their wide receivers. Amari Cooper's another one of their wide receivers that's excellent. Yeah, take all you want.
And then I'm going to bring this back to New Orleans. Are they that bad this year?
They're that bad every year. The thing about them is they score enough points to cover it up. So in fantasy, they're viable because they are offensively usually a pretty good team. I still don't know about them this year, whether they're going to be as good as they have been even offensively. But they've never been able. They aren't able to play defense for whatever reason.
And they got a bunch. They've got 5 or 6 new defensive players.
Yeah, they keep bringing in new guys. They keep bringing in new defensive coaches, and it just doesn't help. So I don't know whether it's the system they're trying to run or whatever's going on there. One game that I thought was telling was the Green Bay Atlanta game.
That was another interesting game.
Atlanta
that didn't go the way that
Atlanta won by 11 points, and quite honestly, it wasn't that close.
No.
Atlanta looked really good. It was in Atlanta. But Green Bay they're short of offensive weapons, I'm afraid. And I'm afraid Rodgers doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Ty Montgomery, the wide receiver / running back, is his top offensive threat. They picked up Edgar Bennett as a tight end. He did nothing. Some of their other guys are already starting to get hurt. Devontae Adams, some of those guys. So I don't know what to think about Green Bay right now. Obviously, they're better than our Bears, but
but that whole division looks like a mess because now the Vikings don't have Sam Bradford.
Yeah,
and it was obvious they can't run that offense without him.
Sam Bradford.
And I never would have thought that those words would have come out of my mouth ever in my life. The Vikings cannot run that offense without Sam Bradford.
No,
period.
Absolutely. And they showed that because the week before they were terrific with Bradford at quarterback.
They were almost perfect, impeccable.
Yeah, they were throwing to Diggs and Thielen and
Dalvin
Cook was running and catching and
Dalvin still with his 2 games is averaging almost about 100 yards a game is about what his average is.
But
no,
if they're the backup quarterback, they still have to give Dalvin the ball a lot.
Tons.
Just to keep things moving if they can.
And it's like you said, Pittsburgh is damn near unbeatable at home.
Yeah.
And it was obvious right from the get-go that they came out to, they weren't messing around. So then now we've got to talk about it. Everybody knows that we're big Chicago guys. We did not go to the Bucks and Bears game. And I'm really glad that we didn't. Again, here's another matchup. Are the Bucks that good? Because a lot of people are thinking they're going to win at least 10 games this year. Are the Bears that bad? Or is it a little bit of both?
Okay. Just like the Jets, the Bears are bad.
Yeah.
Okay. Really bad. Okay. Tampa Bay has a nice team, but they're playing in the same division with Atlanta. And with Carolina, and even New Orleans, who can score a lot of points. So it's iffy. It's iffy. They're going to have to play really well if they can win. Probably if they can win 10 games, they can get into the playoffs. But it's going to be touch and go with their schedule.
And our Bears are going to win, 3? Is that what you said?
I tell you what.
Think we can win
3? After I watched
the
game on television, I was watching it plus the Red Zone to keep up with all the fantasy stuff. After I saw the Bears play Sunday against Tampa Bay, and here up the road here at Raymond James Stadium, and I'm on record as saying the Bears will win 3. I may have overstated.
That's when they're preseason wins.
Yeah. Boy, oh boy, it wasn't good. But let's talk about the Buccaneers briefly. We are in Tampa, St. Pete here. We're in St. Pete, but the Tampa Bay area. If Jameis can up his game a little bit this year, cut down on the interceptions, the bad throws.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to get that ball in places. It's just like
his receivers.
Oh.
They added Deshaun Jackson. They've got Mike Evans.
And Evans.
They're really good. I like their one.
Him and Evans literally just.
I like their one tight end, Cameron Brate. They also got O.J. Howard from Alabama, who they may work in. But I like Brate because Jameis likes to throw to him. It's very obvious. They also have some good second string or not quite top-notch receivers that are pretty good. Humphreys, and some others. So, and their defense is not bad if their defensive secondary plays decent. So, I personally would stick with in fantasy if I had Buccaneer players on my team, Jameis or Mike Evans.
Oh, we had Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is great.
I'm not ashamed to say it.
Yeah, Mike Evans is really good. I think Deshaun Jackson will have a big year too. He's a veteran receiver that's had some huge years when he was at Philadelphia. And once they get Doug Martin back off suspension, which is a couple more games, that's going to really help them a lot. Jaquez Rogers did a nice job though. And
I like Jaquez.
Someone else that the Bears got rid of, by the way.
Yeah.
I think the Buccaneers are going to have a nice team. It's just because of what they play on, and nobody knows for sure what Carolina's up to yet. Cam Newton has looked okay, but the injury to Olsen, who knows? Who knows?
I think there are rough waters.
They've let some real good receivers go in the last couple of years, walking free agency, and I don't know.
I mean, Cam Newton
how they're going to
always kind of looks constipated.
Well,
but he looked ultra constipated, really.
He doesn't look good. He looks like he's, I don't know whether it's tiptoeing or what. So it's going to maybe a long season with him. So I don't know.
The other one I wanted to talk.
So
little Jay Cutler.
Yeah.
Pulling out a win for the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, our buddy Jay.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't.
Well, they have the nucleus for a good team down in Miami. They, because of the hurricane and everything else, they've only played one game. So we'll see how they do. They've got a great running back, AJ.
Well, jersey sales, I actually read this online. Jersey sales have spiked. They've sold 5 this week. The town's on fire for Jay Cutler.
Well, Jay is what Jay is, but Jay can sit back there. If you give him some time,
he's still got an arm.
He's still got a great arm, and he's very sure of himself. And if you can give him some time, the Bears could never give him some time. He was running for his life the whole time.
So he was hurt every season.
Yeah. So, from getting pummeled, that's what happens to any quarterback. So, those things happen. One thing I would like to bring to your attention, I have a couple players to watch here. One in particular that I've actually picked up in a couple of my fantasy leagues, and he should still be available in quite a few. His name is Chris Thompson. He's a running back for the Washington Redskins, and believe it or not, he's a former Florida State Seminole. Yeah, we love the Seminoles. Yeah, go Noles. Yeah, and he has scored 15.6, and then this last week 25.6 fantasy points.
That's what I'm talking about.
And Washington's offense really hasn't started clicking yet. Kirk Cousins can put up a lot of points real quick, and you would have to expect that Kirk Cousins is going to play better than he has so far. Their coach is a little erratic, Jay Gruden.
Runs in the family.
But he likes to score a lot of points. He likes to run it up. So it's worth taking a chance if Chris Thompson.
Because he comes from the AFL.
Yeah.
You're going to score 70 points, boys.
Yeah. So a good game to if you get Thompson, I would stick him right in because they're playing Oakland at home on Sunday night. Now, Oakland on the road is not as good as Oakland at home, just like any team. And they have a long trip, obviously. The cross-country thing, the time difference, Oakland will score a lot of points against Washington, I presume. And just presuming also, I think Washington will probably score quite a few points. So if you have anybody from Oakland, anybody from Washington, that would be a real good spot to play them. A couple others that look pretty good. I've already mentioned one, Ty Montgomery, running back for the Packers. He's a former wide receiver that they made into a running back either last year or the year before also, so he does both. And he had another real good week. C.J. Anderson, who used to be the feature back in Denver, is still in Denver. They've tried several other guys, and all of a sudden they've decided C.J. Anderson is healthy right now, and he would be a good pickup at running back, as would Javaris Allen for the Baltimore Ravens would be the other one I might recommend you take a look at if you're short running backs. And it's hard getting good running backs off the waiver wire. They go fast, and there aren't many of them. And they're also prone to get hurt, so you need to have one or two running backs on your bench for sure.
Yeah.
Every week that are healthy.
We have quite a few.
Yeah, you have to. And wide receivers. That's where you lead. You can always pick a quarterback up. You can always pick a tight end up. You can always pick a defense up off the waiver wire that'll do you for 1 week. But the wide receivers and the running backs are really difficult to find. And if you find somebody sitting on the waiver wire that's worth picking up, you better grab.
Yeah.
So,
remember this Sunday, it is a great day for football because football starts at 9:30 in the morning. Live from, is it live? Yeah, it's live from London at Wembley Stadium. I actually think the game is almost sold out, so they're gonna have a big crowd there, and that's the Ravens and the Jacks.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean that to come out.
Well, we'll get up early to watch football. We might end up taking a nap to the game.
I didn't mean for that to come out. I was just thinking that.
Hopefully we'll be able to go get some.
I don't believe I'll be leaping out of bed.
Hopefully we'll be able to go get some nachos this Sunday. Dad's back was
pulled
his back out last Sunday.
Buffalo
Screwed up
Wild
my
Wings.
Sunday plans.
Yeah, Buffalo Wild Wings, I'm sure was closed. We didn't even bother to drive over there. We usually go watch the first half over there and then come home and watch Red Zone and stuff like that. We do like to watch the Bears, even though they're cruddy. So we can't help that.
Boy, that was a rough game to watch.
Yeah.
But make sure to tune in and go check out some of the other stories that we've done, some of the other videos that we've done here, Rick on the Rocks. And be sure to check out, I'm putting up a great recipe tomorrow on rickontherocks.com. Real simple pasta.
When will we see the meatball?
Oh, I'll put up the meatballs.
Pot.
Yeah, I do these just maniacal meatballs, and I do homemade meatballs in a crock pot and then a sub. They actually were featured on the Food Network. That's how good they are. And I'm not a chef. I kind of taught myself how to cook. But no, it's a pancetta and mushroom garlic Alfredo pasta, a gourmet pasta you can make.
Where can we find those?
At rickontherocks.com. Tomorrow, I would check it in around noon or 1 o'clock. I'll have that recipe up for you. I'm just waiting on a couple things from the company. And we will be back at our regular time next Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Rick on the Rocks and Dad, the fantasy
7
football,
p.m.?
7 p.m.
Oh, that's right. We're doing this early. I forgot.
It's 5 p.m. We got to get to the Cubs game.
Right.
All right, my family's coming home. All right,
Well,
take care. See y'all soon.